Hello, hello. Hey, this is Cynthia Scott with Cynthia Scott Insurance Agency. Have an insurance topic that I would like to go over with you today. It is a question that I get from time to time, and definitely one that we ask doing our underwriting when we're issuing an auto policy. And that's talking about how we use our vehicle. Can we use our personal auto for anything other than, such as delivering pizza? Let's jump right into it. Now, have you or someone you know used their personal auto to deliver pizza? Okay, now we know that in most states, all car owners and drivers, you are required to have at least the minimum liability required by the state that that vehicle is registered in. Okay, we also find that thousands of drivers throughout the United States, they work as part-time pizza delivery drivers. Okay, most of these drivers, they are using their own cars to make the deliveries. Okay, now if you are thinking of getting a job that requires use of your personal vehicle, and you think that the company that you will be working for will cover the cost, all of the cost of any vehicle crash while working, you might want to think again. Okay, now pizza drivers are warned. They're warned of the risk that they take when not talking to their insurance company about this type of thing before they start the job. Okay, now many pizza delivery drivers, they don't consider the possible consequences of not informing their auto insurance provider that they are using their car for commercial business. So now, if you have an accident and you, when driving your car, delivering pizza, your insurance company, they could and more likely refuse the coverage for whatever damages that incur in that accident. You are legally obligated to tell your insurance provider that you are using your vehicle for commercial purposes. Okay? It's your responsibility to inform them. It's your responsibility to let them know up front. Now, driving under personal insurance coverage, whether you are or are not covered for work-involved accidents, will depend on the specific language that's in your auto policy. This is where I always suggest to you, read your policy. Now, though you may not think of it that way, but pizza delivery is a risky business. Now, granted, the pizza is delicious, but it is a risky business. The United States Bureau of Labor Statistics found back in 2018 that delivery and other sales jobs involving driving is the fifth most dangerous job in the country. Did you hear that? The fifth most dangerous job in the country. Delivery. Now, if you have a personal policy and not a auto policy, a business auto policy, you could be on the hook. You could be on the hook for the damages that you cause when you're driving a vehicle and have an accident, because your personal auto policy is for personal needs. And delivering pizza, for which you are being paid, and a lot of times you're getting tips as well, it is not considered personal use. Okay? It's not considered by most insurers. Now, this applies not only to just pizza delivery drivers, I'm not picking on them, but to other types of deliveries as well, such as your drugstore deliveries, and even if you're transporting people, such as your Uber and Lyft. Pretty much any of the enterprises where one is using their personal vehicle for commercial purposes. Okay? It will not fall under your personal coverage umbrella. That's why it's called personal auto policy. The reason is simple. Okay? Insurers, your insurance company, they know that drivers operating their vehicles for commercial purposes, they spend significantly more time on the road, which means a substantially higher risk of being involved in what? An accident. And in return, that means that that's going to cause additional costs for the insurer, your insurance company. So even if you're driving a car belonging to another person who only has personal auto coverage on their vehicle, the same thing will apply. Okay, now we do know that students, sometimes they go to college And they'll use those vehicles. They'll use their personal vehicles because a lot of them are drivers. And they may be covered under their parents' policy for an accident that occurs while driving for personal uses, going back to school, back and forth, home, doctor, to work, but not, for delivering. That coverage would not extend to the use of their vehicle for commercial purposes. Okay? So, you could bear the cost. Okay? Now, let's talk about bearing the cost of pizza delivery accidents. Now, if you want to make substantial changes to the use of your vehicle, like making deliveries or transporting people, you are required to notify your insurance provider if you want to do this, if you start doing this particular job. Now, when you do, your insurer, they may warn you of two items. First, you would not be covered when using the car for commercial activities. And then secondly, they may completely invalidate your policy. Okay? So until they know that you're operating it or using it and covered for the purpose of that. So if you decide to use your car for commercial endeavors, whether you inform your insurer or not, and you're involved in an accident, you will be responsible for all the costs involved. Okay? Any claims you make for damage could be, more likely, will be denied. Okay? So, lying to the insurance company, don't even think about it. Don't even think about lying. Don't lie to the company. Don't lie to your agent. Be upfront. During the claims adjustment process, the insurance company, they're going to do a thorough background. Okay? A review of the accident, the circumstances that surrounded the accidents. And you can be sure, okay? You can be sure that any accident which they find evidence of business activity, they will be overly happy not to cover it. Okay? So, also if an accident report is taken by the police, you can be certain that it will be mentioned. Okay? Pictures will be taken. All right? You when you're driving, pizza, sometimes you have that dome pizza sign on your car. All of those are indications. Okay? So you can be certain that a copy of the police report with all the findings, it will be reported to your insurer. Okay? So the police report is taken, even if one is not taken, you're still not off the hook, because the other driver who you hit, they're going to tell the insurance company, all the information surrounding the circumstances of the accident. Because what? They want to get paid. Okay? So, besides denying coverage for the accident, they may very well cancel your policy. Okay? So we don't want that. We want to be upfront from the beginning. And if you're not doing this in the beginning, that's okay. But if you start to do this type of work, this type of service, inform them. Okay? Inform your insurance company. Inform your agent. Now, how do you get insured? Now, there are a few possibilities for getting the necessary coverage for driving for commercial purposes, delivering or transporting people, like we mentioned. Now, one, you can get coverage through your employer. Some of the employers, particularly chain and larger independent restaurants, they provide coverage called hired and not owned vehicle liability. Okay? And this policy covers their drivers when they're using their personal vehicle for work-related activities. Okay? Be sure to ask. When they're hiring you, you ask the employer if this type of coverage is available. Ask them whose insurance is on the hook here. Okay? Now, commercial insurance. The most common insurance choice is when you switch over your personal to a commercial vehicle policy. Now, check with your insurance company, check with your agent, and any other drivers that you know that may be using their vehicle for this, and just find out what they're doing, what's out there. Okay? In most cases, a commercial policy, it will cost more. Okay? It will cost more than a personal one, but the difference in price, sometimes, a lot of times, it's manageable. Okay? But the key here is, as with most things involving auto insurance, shop around for it. Okay? Shop around and see what you find. Now, then you have your pizza delivery or Uber driver insurance. Okay, now, it's not probably going to just be called that, but in the realm of it, okay? But there are a few insurers out there that they do offer special policies or supplemental coverage to a personal policy specifically for delivery persons. Okay, all right. So check that out. Now Uber, they offer drivers partners coverage at a fee. The coverage is valid and active when the app is on. Lyft also offers help to drivers for contingent liability coverage when the app is in driver mode. Okay, so that's your option there with that. So again, talk with your agent and your fellow drivers, your friends, and see what's available. See what they're doing. Okay, again, this is Cynthia Scott with Cynthia Scott Insurance Agency, bringing you clarity, information, and education. You all have a great day. Bye-bye.